Hello people, welcome once again. My name is Charles and this is DevLess. Now let's continue with our tutorials. This is what we were doing last time. I showed you how to link your DevLess app with your Android, DevLess instance with your Android, how to sign people, how to log people in and all those things. Today I'm going to teach you the CRUD part of DevLess. When I talk about CRUD, I'm talking about create, read, update, delete and all those things. Now, this is my DevLess instance on Heroku. And then already we have, okay, let me delete this service and create another one. Already we have only one service called temp. Okay, let me empty the services. So now let me create a service and call the service names. Okay, now when I call this service names, I'll add one table called, this is it. Now this is my service, this is the portal I create all those kind. Now let me add a new table. I want to call the student table. Notice how I'm spelling it and all those things. And then let me just give a description, student names. Then let me give you them fields, field name and then another field age. Okay, then let me create my table. So I finished creating my table. The table name is student name and then the fields are two. The first field is age and then the next field is name. Now let's come back to our app. But before that, let's go to this DevLess SDK. Let's look at the CRUD part and see how the SDK is telling us to use it. So now we want to get data from that particular table we created. So this table, right now, we just created a table, so there isn't any data in the table. So when you click this, you see there is 0 data. So let's just manually add some data and let's see. Let's say 18 years. I'm Charles. Good. Then I submit. I'm just manually inputting data. And then let's just say 19 years. And then let's say, yeah, let's put a name there. And then, yeah, sure. So these are two records. Okay. So when I send a get request, I query the table, this table in this table in this service. This is the service and then this is the table. I query the student table from this particular service. I should get these records. Okay. So that is exactly what we want to do. So and then this SDK is trying to tell us that if you want to do that, we should give this code the service name, and then we should give it the table name and call the get data method on the DevLess instance we created. So I think that's going to be simple. So let's say get data. Now get data is simple. What is saying? You should give him service name and then table name. So let's just write it a string. Our service name, we called it name service. So let's just say name service. The naming doesn't matter. What matters is with this particular string here, you put in the exact name your service is called. So let's go here and then let me look for my service. Let me open it in another tab. Let me open my service in another tab. So these are the services in the other tab. So I click on this service and then this is the name I'm looking for. I copy it exactly. I paste it in this empty string. So I've assigned it to name service. Now string. Then the table now. So student table. Again, the name doesn't matter. Just make sure you copy and paste the right name there. So this is the students table. So I click on this guy and then copy it and then paste it here exactly. Are you getting it? So as this SDK is trying to tell us, it means we are supposed to do and we've already done it. So now we can now call the get data method on the particular DevLess instance we created. So this is the DevLess instance we created. So it's going to be DevLess .get data. Okay. You see, now you have options, get data. You can press Command P to see the parameters it takes. Now the first parameter is service name. And then this is the service name we have here. So we call it name service. Now the second parameter is table name. And then which table are you trying to get from? Students table. Students table. And then this is a callback it's giving us. So we type new capital GET. Immediately you see get response, just hit tab and then all these things will come. Okay, now let's go on. Okay, this is Java naming. So let me just name it all. Yeah, cool. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to log the response it will give us to see whether it matches with whatever is there. So response. And then this is the payload it gives us, response payload. So response payload dot to string. Let's just string it. I like login errors than login.v or log wtf. Now this particular thing means that when it is successful, when our query is successful, this is the code that will run. But when there's a problem, this is the code that will run. So let's just login error, then print whatever error message dot to string, whatever error message. Then there is something called, this is the last callback. The last callback will tell you whether the user who is querying from this particular app is authenticated or not. This will only be useful when your table or your service is auth protected. What I mean by auth protected is this. Now look at this. Come to your DevLess this one and go to your privacy. Let me also open that one in another tab. Go to your privacy. Now we select our names service. Realize that everything is public. But if we now set query to authenticate, it means whoever is querying from the app, that particular user should sign in into the user side of DevLess before that person can query the data. Create, you can also leave it public or make it authentic. Anything. When it's authenticated, it means the person has to be logged in before that person can access data, create, read, or whatever, according to your privacy. But in this case, everything is public, so this code will not run. Okay, so we leave it there. This and this is what we are looking at. So now let's run this code on our emulator and see whether it will get us the data, this data we are looking for, this data inside our app, so that we can use it for whatever we want to use it for. So let's just run it and let's monitor it down here. Since I'm doing log.e, yeah, I've switched from this guy to this guy, okay, so that I'll see all the errors logging and everything. So now the app has installed, the app has run. Let's see the response it will give us. If it's successful, it should give us this response. If it fails, it should give us this response. Are you getting it? Good. So good, it gave us this response. Now this response came. It means it was successful. Now let's see whether it the things it gave us matches with whatever thing we have there. So this is it. So these are actually our data, and then we can scroll through and then move through. You see, now these are ID, DevLess is a 1, age 18, name Charles, boom, and then DevLess is a 2, age whatever 19, name Petra. Okay, so now look at it. It's the same data it's giving us here. I get it. So you successfully queried data from our Android app to our DevLess backend, and it has given us a response in the form of this. Okay, that's sweet. That's super sweet. Now let's say, for instance, we made a mistake in spelling the service name or the table name. So let's make this mistake intentionally and see. Now, so when we make this mistake intentionally, this error code should run and tell us whatever is wrong, so that we will know and then fix it in our code. So this error code should run. We don't expect this response to run. So you see the error has run. It's telling you error. What? Sorry. Wait. This is it. The error has run. This error. And then it's telling you the service name or table name doesn't exist. Why? Because you spelled it wrongly here. But when you spell it correctly, when you shoot it, it should give you a correct response. That blah blah blah, whatever data is there, it gives you. If it's an empty data, it will also give you an empty thing, but it won't throw an error. Do you get it? So let's wait for the response again. Wait for the response again. Sorry for the bad internet. Let's wait for the response. So finally we have our response back. Sorry for the bad internet. We have our response back. Now, so let's do another thing. We've gotten data from the backend. Now, someone who has a question. Let's comment this gets data out. Someone who has a question. How about posting data? Posting data. Okay, now with posting data, you just have to check what the SDK equals of us, and then we use it. Now, so we go here. Where is it? We go here, and then we are looking at adding data. Okay, adding data. What is trying to tell us that we should create a map string object with a key being the field name, and then a value being whatever I want to put there, blah blah blah. Then we should call the post data okay method. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. So what is trying to tell us that we should create this map string object. Then we should give it any name. Maybe we call it data. It's equal to new hash map. Okay, it's equal to new hash map. Then now we do that particular name, we do dot put. Now this key will be the field name. So we have a field called name, and then we want to input a name called N1 there in that particular record. Then in the age section of that same thing, dot put, there we come, the field called age. want to input like 20. Okay, now, so we now have the data we want to send. Now let's call the get data method, post data method on the DevLess instance. So DevLess the post data. Okay, you see post data. So we press Command P, we see the parameters it takes. Now it's taking the service name. What is the name of our service? We call it student service. Sorry, we called it name service. Name service. And then what is the name of our table? It's taking table now. We call it student table. Student table, sorry. And then what is the name of our, okay, which data do we want to post? We want to post this guy, this thing called data. So let's say data. And then, sorry, data. And then it's saying, okay, then it will give us a callback. So we type new, the callback is called post data response. So capital POST. Anytime you see post data response, just hit enter. Then as usual, when it is successful, this code will run. So let's just log it. When it fails, this guy will also run. And when user is not authenticated or the person's token has expired, that is giving your table or your services auth protected, then this code will run. But there's an error and then success. Like let's just deal with these two things. Okay. Now let's run this code. And then just monitor it here. Let me delete everything in the monitor. If it is successful, the preceding thing we should say is response, and then the payload will continue. And then if it is not successful, you should see an error and then whatever. So now this response came, it means it's successful. And then this it has given us this payload that data has been added to student table successfully. Now let's switch back to our instance, our DevLess instance here. Now we can refresh this guy. When we refresh this guy, sorry for the slow internet. When we refresh this guy, you see, sweet. Now there is a name called Edmond and there is an age called 20. Yeah, sorry, there is an age 20. You understand? We posted it from this app, from right here. So let's say we want to put another record called, let's say Edwin, and then the age, let's say 19. Let's do the same thing again and post. Now you do realize there are only 3 names here. Only 3 names here. Now, when we get a response here, let's check this guy and see if something happened. So let's wait for the response patiently. Whichever response it will bring us, whether it's success, whether it's an error or whatever. Let's just wait for the response in the log area. Because we are doing log.e, not maybe log.v. That's why I've switched this guy to error, like log.e. Then to give us our response back. So when good, it has given us our response. Meaning, it says the data has been successfully added to the table. Nice one. So let me go here and then refresh it. Now when I refresh it, good. You see there is Edwin and every guy is there. So it's actually posting the data pretty fast and pretty easily. Now let's make a mistake. And then since there is no field called names, the field is called name, not names. Let's try posting this. So we want to test and see whether everything is going on well. Because you should receive a message like this particular field name doesn't exist or something, because that field doesn't exist. Good. It says a post field. Why? Because there is no field name called, sorry, it's a wrong field name or whatever. But if everything is alright, it can post. So I think that will be all for this posting. This is post data. This post data. So this post data, let me just comment it out. Okay, sweet. Now let's talk about editing or patching. So now so far this is what we have. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4 records. As we posted 2 from the app and then we did 2 manually. Now let's talk about edit. Now edit or patch or however you may call it. Now this is what the SDK said. Okay, editing said create a hash map method with the key and the value you want to change. Okay, and then call the look, you are looking for service name. This one you have to look for the ID and then call the edit method on it. Okay, let's do that. So we create a hash map. Okay, map string object. Okay, then we call it maybe patch, like the data I want to patch is equal to new hash map. Yeah. So now what's going to happen is that I'm going to do patch dot put then What's the name of the field? Name. You want to change the name. You want to change the name of Edmond to something like Edmond 1. Edmond 1. From Edmond to Edmond 1. Sorry for my spelling. Okay, Edmond 1. Now let's see. This is exactly what I want to do. Now I want to change that particular person's field. So let's call the edit. So DevLess.edit. DevLess.edit. Then we command P inside and see our parameters. Take service name. What's the name of our service? Name service. Table name, student table. Then it takes the update you want to send. What update you want to send? That's what we call patch there. That's map string. Patch. Then what it takes is the ID. So now since it is this guy we want to change Edmond to Edmond 1, the ID is number 3. So I come here and then put number 3 in a string. And then what the parameter again? No, okay, it's looking for a callback called edit whatever. So we type new, then type capital EDIT. Then when we see the edit data response, we click on this guy. As usual, when the edit is successful, this code will run. When it fails, this code will run. When the user is not authenticated and the table is auto protected, this code will also run. So let me just log this first too. Let's just log this error. And then let's just log this success. Okay, this is interesting. Now, yeah, right, and this success. Okay, sweet. Now, we want to run this code. Let's just run this code and then view the log cut and then see how far. Was there an error? Did it work? Did it succeed? Okay. So what we did was, as it's loading, what we did was we created a map string of the field we want to change and then the value we want to set it to. Then we called the edit method on DevLess instance, gave it the service name, gave it the table name, gave it the object we want like done, and then gave it the ID of whatever we want to change, and then brought that callback, and then we are doing things with the callback. Now it gives us this response. It means it's successful. Okay, it means it said student table has been updated successfully. So now we can refresh this page. When we refresh this page, this ID number 3 should change from Edmond to whichever name we put here, Edmond 1. So let's refresh it and see whether it worked. Boom, it worked. So successfully, we've been able to edit data on our backend from this Android app. So that is how I'm going to do everything. So let's do another thing. Maybe I want to change the age of I want to change the age of Petra to, let me say, 20. So I just change it to 20. Then I run the same code again. So I run the same code again. I think by now you pretty much understand how this whole thing works. How this whole thing works. When you want to change whatever field, you put that particular field there and you put the new value there. Then when you come here, and then it says it's successful. So this Petra's age should change from 19 to whatever you put here, which is 20. So let's just reload this page. Now, when we reload this page, sorry for this bad internet. So when this page is reloaded, good. Now it should change from 19. The age should change from 19. 20 to. Sorry. We didn't give the correct ID. So you realize that it did the same thing on number 3. So it changed the number 3's age to 20. Okay, do you get it? Change the number 3's age to 20. But let's do what we wanted to do. We want to change number 2, the ID number 2, which is Petra here, the age to 20, so that it will be evident that something really happened at the back. So let's click on it, and then let's do it. Let's run the code again. This is a whole edit process. Whatever the field name is, you put it first, and then you put the key there, whether it's a string, whether it's an array, whether it's an object, whatever it is. So it's telling us that it's done. This age should change to 20 as we put it there. So let's reload the page. So sorry for the bad internet. Let's just reload the page. Now when we reload the page, good, you see now it has changed to 20. Now sweet. So our edit part is done. Okay, our edit part is done. Now let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about delete. Now the thing is, before I talk about delete, I want to fix this internet before I start talking about delete. So let's just pause this episode here and then end this here. So now we know how to get data, we know how to post data, and then we know how to edit data. So in the next episode, I'll show you how to delete data, and then search. Okay, thanks for watching. Sorry for the bad internet, but basically this is how you're going to go about it. I hope you understand and you get it. Tell people about DevLess super fast and then super